Everyone. Today, I'm here to talk with you a little bit more about our final assignment, our Mini-Qualitative Research Report, and collecting and analyzing our qualitative data, or the student responses that are in response to the student opinion question that you picked to be the focus of your report. If it seems like I'm looking down, it's just because I've made some notes for myself just to kind of keep me on track for this video tutorial. So let's go ahead and see what I'm going to be talking about for this video. I will be focusing on four things. First thing, what we're going to be doing for this assignment, then moving into collecting and analyzing our data for this assignment, and finally, taking the next steps to get us on our way to write our mini qualitative research reports. So let's dive right in, shall we? I've tried to simplify this project as much as possible. So let's take a look at what we are going to be doing for it, right? And like I said, I've tried to simplify it as much as possible while still allowing us to meet the learning goals for our course. We can't get into the finer points of qualitative research and data analysis. We just don't have time for that. But this assignment is going to be more of an exploratory project than anything else, and that's okay, because it's still going to get you thinking about and doing this new research methodology. You'll still be able to come away from this project with an idea of how to do qualitative research and why it's important. So, what are we doing for this assignment? In a nutshell, you're going to be doing three main things, right? First, you're looking at your data set or the student responses for themes and patterns. So what are some of the recurring beliefs, experiences, perceptions, or arguments that show up in the responses you selected? Then you're coming up with theories about why people might be saying what they're saying. What might be some possible reasons or explanations for those beliefs, experiences, perceptions, or arguments? What are your theories about some of the larger contextual factors like the social, cultural, political, religious, intellectual, technological, economic, or environmental factors that might be influencing the themes and patterns of similarity you identified in your students' responses? And finally, you're comparing your own responses to the ones you've analyzed and offering explanations for why your ideas and arguments are similar or different. So, how do your own answers compare to the responses you're seeing? Are they similar, different, in what ways? Why do you think this might be the case? Now that we've talked more about what you're doing for this assignment, let's take a look at how you can start collecting and analyzing your data for your mini qualitative research report. So your data for your mini qualitative research report will be the student responses to your student opinion question. And these responses are located in the comment section of the article. When it comes to collecting your data for this project, you're going to have to make some deliberate choices about the responses you want to use. Now, there's a bunch of responses in some of these student opinion questions. Some have 300, 400, 500 responses. That's just too many. We can't possibly analyze them all for this assignment, and that's okay. Our goal for this assignment is to make it as manageable as possible. So your first task to get ready for the data analysis portion of your paper is to collect some data from the comment section. And to do this, you'll need to start making choices about which responses will be the most useful for you to talk about in your paper and to collect and save those responses so you can come back to them for further analysis. So you'll follow these two major steps to begin your data collection process. First, you'll find 15 to 20 relevant, interesting, substantial responses that answer the main research question. After you read through the bulk of the student responses to your student opinion question, you'll start sorting through them and begin gathering the ones that you think are relevant, interesting, and substantial. By relevant, they answer the main research question and some of the sub-questions. By interesting, they're the ones that you find compelling, striking, worthy of analysis and attention. And ones that are substantial, meaning they're longer than one or two sentences, and that they're a decent chunk of writing that will be fruitful for your analysis. And once you find those responses, you'll copy and paste them into a Word file or a Google Doc. And this is what's going to help you keep all of your data in one place. So you don't have to keep going back to the comment section and scrolling through every comment to find the one that you want. That would just become tedious after a point, right? And you might lose a comment. So copy and paste them into a Word file or Google Doc to keep track of them. After you've collected your responses and saved them to a Word file or a Google Doc, now you're ready to move to the next step, which is analyzing your data. So when we analyze, When we analyze qualitative data, like the responses to the student opinion question that you picked, you're doing it with two main goals in mind. Your first goal is identifying themes, patterns, processes, and/or trends in a data set. And this is where you're kind of comparing, contrasting words, phrases, sentences in order to discern overarching themes, patterns, or trends. The second goal with qualitative data analysis is trying to make sense of those overarching patterns that you found in your data set. So when we're doing this, we're using coding or grouping strategies to identify potential reasons and explanations for major themes and patterns. Basically, this is where we're coming up with our theories for why we think people said what they said. And coding is one way to make sense of your qualitative data. Basically, move myself over here a little bit out of the way. Basically, codes are short, descriptive, or inferential labels assigned to data segments meant to condense and categorize that data. When we get qualitative data, like the student responses to our student opinion questions, it can be messy. It seems like the responses are all over the place. So one of our goals is to use codes to help organize and make sense of that messiness in the qualitative data that we're working with. So basically, in a nutshell, coding is the data analysis process that breaks down the text into the smallest units and reorganizes these units into relatable stories. It works to make sense of these patterns and trends that you're seeing in the data. So here you'll see a visualization of someone who started color coding their data. And they're going line by line, making notes about which pieces of text symbolize the specific codes that they've created, like views of harm or scrutiny or willfulness. The two short videos that follow this one go into more detail about coding and what it looks like, so be sure to watch those. They'll help you understand this process in more detail. Okay, so now for some good news. You're actually already analyzing your data. When you read through the comments and started grouping people's responses, noting patterns and trends in their answers for your discussion post last week, you were already engaging analytically with your data. So congratulations, you're all already dipping your toes into qualitative research waters. So taking these next steps are going to help you continue making progress toward your qualitative research projects. And those are, first, watch the two short tutorials on coding. They go into a really good explanation of what it is and how to do it. Read the short pieces on collecting and analyzing your data to get a little bit more of an idea of how to go about analyzing your data. Start collecting your 15 to 20 responses and saving them in a Word file or a Google Doc. Begin analyzing the responses you collected and using some of the coding strategies outlined in analyzing your data. And finally, complete the week 15 discussion forum. That's going to help you get a little bit more in-depth into the data analysis process for this project. And most importantly, remember, keep calm and stick with me. Right? I know that some of you expressed concerns about how successful you'll be at this assignment now that we're learning online as opposed to being in class. I'm here to tell you that it's going to be okay. Yes, it will be different. Yes, you might not produce the best version of this assignment under these circumstances, but hey, I'm not going to be the best teacher under these circumstances. The most important thing for us to do is to keep moving forward and keep communicating. It's really a matter of getting things done and finishing the class at this point. So I promise, if you stick with me, we'll make it to the end together. And that's all I've got for this week, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back next week for our final tutorial on writing about qualitative research.